Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Trouble Plays YouTube channel. Today is Tuesday, November 19th. We have some MAC football to talk about on Tuesday night. Going to be breaking down two games, starting with Akron and Kent State. I know probably not the game you want to watch or hear about, but we're going to break it down. Then we have NIU, Northern Illinois, going up against Miami, Ohio. Four plays of the Tuesday night action, but first, let's look at the plays from Saturday. We'll say 0-3 day on the player prop. Horrible day on the player props. Cam Scatterboot only one that was close. Jake didn't go over 200 yards passing. Dylan Gabriel, horrible day against Wisconsin, but we did a decent day on the game picks. Florida outright, did call that one. Florida +4 is the play. Nebraska barely not covering against USC. Nebraska's so bad. I mean, they're so bad. Even with like the new offensive coordinator coming in, didn't matter. They put up 20 points, but the defense, when they needed them, failed. Georgia -9.5, scary in the first half. Georgia dominates the second half going up against Tennessee. South Carolina blew the lead against Missouri. They're up by 17, maybe a little bit more than that. Barely ended up winning the game. So that one did lose. -14 was the play. Arizona State outright again against Kansas State. We called that one. Arizona State +7.5. Then BYU had the chance, man. BYU had the chance, and they blew it going up against Kansas. Kansas is playing some really good football, so it was bound to happen one point. BYU's been playing with fire all this time. Finally happened. Had a 4th and 10 inside the Kansas 20 for the game. Kansas stood up tall. So Kansas beats BYU. Big 12 conference is an absolute train wreck right now. But let's go over to the plays for Tuesday night. We're going to start with the head-to-head game between the two worst teams, I should say, in the MAC conference. Akron against Kent State. I said 2 weeks ago that whenever this game was going to come out, Akron going to Kent State, I was going to play Kent State to win this game on the money line because it's their only chance to win on the season. But after watching them play and after watching Akron play over the last couple games, it's just not something I can do. I'm going to take Akron. -9.5 is the play. I do think Kent State has been playing a little bit better. Seems like they're still trying to fight, but whenever you look at the numbers for this team, we have a team who's dropped 8 of the last 10 games by double-digit points. One of the games that they didn't lose by double-digit points, that was against St. Francis. That's an FCS team. They still lost outright, just not by double-digit points. Kent State's also the 3rd worst team offensively in the country. They're the last scoring defense in the country. They're not really throwing the ball down the field. They like to run the ball. That's how they run the clock out, trying to get through these games because they're usually getting beat by 50-plus points. They're the worst team at rushing this season as well. So even when they try to run the ball, they're still the worst team in the nation. This, in all standards, on paper, Kent State's the worst team in the nation. This is not a glowing recommendation to take Akron, though, -9.5. This is just me gambling on how poorly Kent State's been on the year. They should never, ever be a single-digit underdog. They should always be a double-digit underdog. Akron does have a pretty good, decent rushing attack. They've got some good players on that side of the ball. They've got a quarterback who can throw. He runs the ball as well, dual threat kind of guy. I think 10's not enough. I think Akron covers the spread. I actually think this is going to be a blowout. Akron's still fighting hard. They're still playing very well. Against Northern Illinois last week, they were in a pretty competitive game. So I think the Zips can take care of business here. I'm going to take them -9.5 as the first play of the day. Let's go to the second play. We're going to look at a massive game in this conference, MAC conference. Miami, Ohio, going up against Northern Illinois. Miami, Ohio has to win this game. If they lose, that really hurts their chances to win a MAC conference title. If NIU wins this game, it gets them one step closer. They're going to be 4-3 in conference play. Probably not going to be enough to get a chance for a title game, but it will make Miami, Ohio's chances a lot less. So I do think we're going to see a competitive game here. I just think it's going to be too much on the line for Miami, Ohio. I'm going to take them -3 as the play. The NIU defense has been strong this season, allowing just 284.3 total yards per game. That's 8th in the nation. The only problem with that in this game is that Miami, Ohio, they've looked great offensively over the last several weeks. Northern Illinois also dealing with a massive list of injuries. I mean, I could name them all for you, but there's like 14, 4 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. Their star running back, Ontario Brown, still going to be out in this game. It looks like it's questionable in this game, but probably going to be out. They've got a couple cornerbacks out, had a backup quarterback out. It's just they've got so many injuries. The offense is most likely going to look choppy again in this game because they have all those injuries. And the Miami, Ohio defense, not bad. 26th in the nation, giving up 320 yards per game, 18.7 points per game. If we take a look at the last 5 games for both these teams, NIU offensively, 23.4 points per game. Miami, Ohio, over the last 3, 35.7 points per game. They're going to win this game outright. NIU's very careless with the football as well this season. Negative turnover margin. Miami, Ohio, positive turnover margin. They're going to cause turnovers. The defense is going to play well. The offense is more efficient. I'm going to take Miami, Ohio, -3 to get the job done. Let's go to the player props for the games for the MAC Conference tomorrow. We're going to stay in the same game here. Miami, Ohio going up against NIU. Give me Reggie Virgil over total receiving yards going up against NIU. Don't currently have a line out. I'm recording pretty early on Monday afternoon. It's currently 5:14, but I'm assuming that because he's been so good over the last several games that it's going to be just a little bit higher than normal. His average on the season, 60 yards per game. So I'm assuming he's going to be like 65.5, somewhere around there. But if you take a look at this guy's last couple of games, he's been huge. 88 yards in the last game going up against Kent State. 101 yards in the game prior to that going up against Ball State. And he only has a few catches on the season. 29 catches, 600 yards, or 598 yards. But he's been the big play guy all season long. Brett Gabbert and Virgil, they've been hooking up all season long with the big plays. I think that's going to continue in this one against NIU. This is a very pesky NIU defense. I do think if Miami, Ohio does start to struggle, we're going to start seeing some deep shots in that secondary. With the way Virgil's been playing, though, we might see a deep shot on the first drive. I love the way he's been playing. I love the way Gabbert's getting on the ball. I'm going to take his over receiving yards as the first play of the day. And for the final play of the day, we're going to be looking at the rivalry matchup, Central Michigan going up against Western Michigan. We're going to be looking at Marion Lukes of Central Michigan to go over his total rushing yards going up against Western. Lukes has been given a massive opportunity again this season for Central. He's been the bell cow all year long for the Chippewas. He's coming into this game against Western, 133 carries, 617 yards, 5 touchdowns. But over the last 7 games, he's been dominating opposing teams. Besides the matchup going up against Miami, Ohio, which I've already talked about, really good defense, top 30 in the nation. Besides that matchup going up against Miami, Ohio, he's had 13-plus carries in every other game, having 70-plus yards in every other game. He's coming off a 19-carry game going up against Toledo with 80 yards. In Western Michigan this season, they've been dreadful defensively, one of the worst defensive teams in the entire nation. Western Michigan giving up close to 200 yards per game on the ground. I do think we see Lukes go for 100-plus rushing yards this game as Central Michigan keeps the ball on the ground, puts up a big number on this Western Michigan defense. I'm taking Marion Lukes over total rushing yards as the final play of the day. Let's go to the recap graphic. We're going to be taking Akron, -9.5, Miami, -3C, and -2.5 right now. But I'm going to keep it -3. I'm going to take whatever it is in the morning. Virgil, over total receiving yards, and then Marion Lukes, over total rushing yards. Again, both of those lines not out yet, but I'm going to take it. Whatever it comes out at Tuesday morning, it'll be on the previous play for you guys to see. But guys, that's going to do it for the NCAA football plays and props for Tuesday, November 19th slated games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please share, drop a like in this video, and subscribe channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.